Hi, Mish here, and back in 2021, JDI, Sand Imports, brought over 10 of these. This is the Wyssen Defense WD9, essentially an AR15 M4 type gun, but the receivers are custom built for 9mm, even using Glock brand Glock magazines. So this is a, purpose built, not a conversion. So there's only 10 came over in 2021. Well, 10 more were supposed to come over at the end of 2022, but as it happens, they made it in April of 2023. So now there are a grand total of 20 of these in the USA. And they are all of the full-size version with an 8.5-inch barrel, has an HK3 lug. I believe the barrel might be made by B&T. It's MP5 style. So good chrome line, cold hammer forge. We've got removable rail, free floated handguard. Of course, it's a direct blowback. MB 45-degree throw safety. MB mag, bolt hold back. MB charging handle. These are stiff to charge because of the recoil spring being 9mm, plus this rubber thing that's put on for import foamy thing doesn't help either because it drags. But under it is a Magpul CTR type extension, Magpul grip. Of course, right now we're in the dark days of arm braces, so we will be shooting it like this because 2 years ago with Jay we shot one of these, but now with Fox we thought we'd shoot one out of the most recent batch. So we're going to throw an optic on this and throw some Glock mags in it and see how it does. If you're thinking this is a weird way to hold it, you are not incorrect. First shots out of the WD9. And that's it open. So, here is the WD9 in its case that it does ship with, and accessories. You do get an interesting manual that, well, it's a manual. Kind of looks like they printed it out and put it in a binder, but considering this is a pretty boutique outfit, that's understandable. You get a cleaning and toolkit in this here kind of pellet thing, very Swiss style. You get a mag loader, simple, basic, but you do get it. One difference with the 2023 version compared with the 2021, the original came with 2 factory Glock pattern mags. I believe these are 30 rounds. Maybe they're 31. Now looks like they are shipping with 3. At least the 2 cases I've opened each had 3. So small update, but an extra mag is never a bad thing. So what about the pistol itself? Because both the upper and lower are scaled for 9mm, and because it's aluminum, this gun is right at 6 pounds without an optic, unloaded. Not bad. Not bad at all. Overall length is a little under 2 foot, around 23 inches, give or take. The barrel, I said at the beginning, it's 8.5 inches. If you want to be exact, it's more like 8.3 something, but gives you the idea. This is a hard coat anodizing. And overall, pretty compact and light little package. So, let's hand it off to Fox. And now Fox's first go at the WD9.
Hold open.
First impressions?
Quality. I like the way this gun feels, even from shooting it off of my right cheek here. This dude has such small amount of recoil, you can really feel just really how tight everything is. And
oh,
the
it's
quality.
definitely tight.
Yeah, and it does not bounce around at all.
That's the benefit of that stiff spring. It makes it harder to charge.
Correct,
But
yeah.
it doesn't rock you around.
Very much so. I love the, of course, Magpul grip. I really like this. We'll obviously dive deeper into a review, but no, everything about this, honest, the craziness of how stiff that is in our little butt tube here. But yeah, I like it.
When we first featured the WD9, we really talked about who Wyssen Defense was. This time I'm just going to give you a 30-second synopsis. Wyssen started off as a company almost 100 years ago, 1926, and they got into avalanche safety stuff. They would soon get into pulley systems, lumber systems in the 1930s and 40s, and met with great success. They did cable cars, again, still more avalanche safety gear, so much so that over 60 nations, including the US and Canada, use stuff made by Wyssen. But that's the kind of avalanche. What about the gun, Wyssen Defense? Well, in the 90s, one of the children, because this is still a family-owned business, really liked guns. And he thought he could make better guns. And it started off as kind of a custom outfit, unofficially, using kind of a corner of the otherwise workshop, kind of tweaking out K31s and stuff to make them into target guns. But in 2013, so 10 years ago to this year, hey, they're 10-decade old, Wyssen Defense opened up officially as its own company, and they specialized in reworking PE-57s, K31s, into competition guns. They also cut their teeth with the WD15, which is a 5.6 or 223 or 5.56, depending on how you want to class the gun, the cartridge, their version of the AR. And that's really when the owner wanted to make a 9mm. He wanted to have it take Glock mags, but at the time, nothing available in Switzerland he thought was adequate. So, with help from others, and in his company, he designed his own. They do have CNC equipment and machining there. Other stuff is outsourced or contracted for. And they started producing these a handful of years ago. This is the full size, as we pointed out. There's a K version with the shorter barrel that's around 6 inches. But none of those have been imported into the USA. At least not as of yet. And these are meant for competition and match grade shooting, not really targeted for a military or even really a police market, although I could see a police officer private purchasing one of these in Switzerland. But it's a small outfit, gunsmiths, not assembly lines, so output is necessarily very low, but everything is hand fitted, hand tested, hand qualified before it leaves the door, which is why these took so damn long to come in. To go a little more into the details, yeah, we do have an M-LOK compatible free-footed handguard. It is kind of tapered and enlarged out here, I'm sure, for suppressor compatibility. It does come with 4 rail sections attached, but of course you can remove them. This is, of course, part of the receiver. Comes with an ALG trigger. Like I said, it has the shorter throw safety. It is ambi. The mag release is ambi. Only the bolt release is not ambi. I said earlier this is a Magpul extension, but inside we have an SCS buffer recoil system. And finally, we have a QD sling slot on the end. And of course, this is just here for import. Comes right off if you need to. So, you might have wondered why such a large case. For one, you could put a gun in with a mag inserted and have room for plenty of extra mags. Or, this has room to go in with an optic installed. A lot of cases you get with guns, even nice cases, they work well with just the iron sights, but when you go to throw an optic on, they don't fit. SIG cases are kind of like that for the most part. But not this one. You could get your optic sighted in and not have to worry about taking it off. Of course, the flip side, it's a little bulky, but you could have everything in here. So, yeah, let's mess around with an optic. Lately, Fox has been throwing Holosuns on a lot of things. And since it has a QD mount, that makes it quite easy. Traditional pistol. It does not like that. I'm not surprised. Very strange. After all, the first firings went just fine, and when Jay and I fired a different one 2 years ago, we had no troubles at all. However, I was trying to shoot it as a traditional pistol with only one point of contact. It was very possible I was equivalently limp wristing it, because this is a entirely inertia or recoil driven gun. So if it gets too much energy lost in the movement, that can happen. We've even seen it happen with Glocks. And of course, back then we could use an arm brace. Now we cannot. We really miss braces. So let's try it real tight. Let's try bracing it good. No. Okay, that time I was gripping it real tight and stable, and it's still. Maybe it's the mag. I brought all factory mags out, and so maybe that one mag's a dud. Let's try another one. WD9. Alrighty then. Doesn't seem to be a mag issue. What else have we done? Well, even though it may not be obvious why it would matter, we did put that optic on. So, as we troubleshoot, let's pull it off and try it flat top again. Took the optic off.
How would that optic have anything to do with that?
Weight and clamping, they can, and it's weird.
Wow.
Remember we saw that with
it happened on my Benelli.
Yeah.
Wow.
And one more go without the optic. Yeah, and that was that.
Oh, let's try it with some Glock mags.
Yeah. Okay, back to running just fine. So that would seem to be it. Not the ammo, not the mag, not even how it was being held, but something to do with the optic or how and where it was clamped on to this rail. But again, we've seen this before. We mentioned the Benelli. Well, here's a clip from that last year. Same optic, but completely different gun. One more try with the Wyssen.
Did the same thing, so didn't push one in. Now we got one. Same thing. Worker in. Same thing. And we're in.
I'm going to try the M4 with the Wyssen. Okay. I'm going to dump that out. Try one more. Okay.
It's clearly the hollow side.
It's definitely not you. Get on out of there. Alrighty.
Got one more.
Unfortunately, whereas the Benelli had iron sights, this does not. Either integrated or in the box. So, unless we want to go all the way back to the place and grab some Magpul clamp-ons, let's mess around and see if we can get our Wyssen to work with this gun, because we have a feeling it's going to be pretty darn accurate, at least in Fox's hands, not so much in mine.
So we put the Wyssen back on there, and we are going to be using a actual Glock mag. And I'm going to insert that. Cough, cough. This little booger is the joy to charge.
We miss braces.
Oh my gosh. Maybe I didn't get that mag all the way. Okay, yeah, we miss braces. Let's see what it's got. Held open.
Back to the WD mag, but the sight moved just a little further back. Okay, so
I think moving that sight
yeah,
back too.
because you know that was right over the eject.
It really was.
You know what it might have been doing? The casing might have been coming out and hitting this.
Ooh.
On ejection.
You're right. Time for slow-mo.
And then like kind of going back in. I don't know.
No, you're totally right. Whatever it is, it seems to be fixed since we've moved it back.
Move it back.
A rung or two.
Yeah.
Cool.
So yeah, we discovered anywhere but right over this ejection port here, it's fine. Back here, even further forward. Although, since this rail kind of goes onto the handguard here, even though it looks completely lined up, it actually breaks right here, and then where your ejection port's at. So you probably want to use the real estate back here. And that would tell me that if you're going to put an optic on this, either something small, or if it's a larger one, something that doesn't overhang too much, because that's my best guess, best theory. Fox is right. Probably slow-mo could tell us more, but hey, we're just two guys in the woods having some fun with the Swiss boutique 9mm AR. So let's continue on a bit more and then sit down to have a chat. WD9 again.
That was it.
Doesn't seem to have a problem with accuracy.
No, it really doesn't.
You should be able to hear him ringing still with this. Accuracy was very good, especially considering the optic wasn't sighted in for this gun, or even 9mm perhaps. But yeah, it was doing really well. Bolt hold open worked every time, which is nice because a lot of ARs that take Glock brand Glock mags either don't have a bolt hold open at all, or it's just a manual one. Another thing I like is the bolt doesn't have excessive travel like on, say, some of the earlier Colt ARs, so it comes back to here and no further. Ergonomics are good, like this short throw safety. The ALG trigger is fine. It's not the best trigger ever, but you do want enough of a spring with it so you can ignite ammo even with hard primers, but it's nice, it's smooth. You do have an enlarged trigger guard, but it's not removable. It is part of your lower, so you're kind of just, you get what you get, but luckily it's not a bad one. You do have some patterning at the front of the magwell for a grip, or just to let you know where you're at, and plenty of real estate before you get to the business end, so your hand's not going to easily slip forward. It was a good day. Once we figured out the optic issues, we had no other issues out of this. It was not ammo sensitive. It was not magazine sensitive. And the accuracy was quite good. So, let's again sit down with Fox and, get his take. So guys, I've fired a WD9 before, at least the one from the previous batch in 2021, and I'm happy to report they didn't change anything. It's the exact same gun I fired then, and my shooting experience was the same. Reliable, fun, very light recoiling. As we pointed out, the charging handle, especially when it's set up like this, is a little hard to do, but that's more the fault of not being able to have what we need on the rear. What can you do? However, you've never shot or even seen one before we did that.
Right.
And you like ARs and 9mm, PCCs. So, what do you think?
Well, I really, really like how compact this thing is, and it's so lightweight. Although, whenever I did pick it up, I felt it was so lightweight it was going to have a lot of recoil, minimal recoil. And at first, picking it up and even looking at it, it kind of has that Maxim PDX kind of
we both kind of MPX, MCX,
Banshee kind of deal. It just has that vibe and look, but most of all, the quality. I mean, there is no loose part on this gun.
No, as you said at the range, like you think the HK MR556 is a tight gun, and it is.
Right.
This is tighter.
Yeah, very tight. And going back to the no recoil, super easy to keep on target. And I like the real estate. This handrail from looks, I like the kind of the curve, round Coke can look to it. It's very easy to grip, and the real estate on there would be great for what I feel this gun would shine most at, and that's close quarter combat stuff, truck gun, that kind of stuff. So you could even run your nods with it. You could put your laser light, white light, IR, and even a grip if you SBR this gun. So that really kind of sticks out to me to where I would like to have this gun. And the charging handle is radiant as well, so very familiar with those. But yeah, I don't have anything real negative to say about it. There was one thing that did stand out, and I'll say now what's on my mind. I wish it had a threaded barrel. Kind of going back.
Not just a 3-lug?
Yeah, I wish that was threaded, because I think this gun would shine most for close quarter combat, night vision kind of stuff, and really a threaded barrel would be excellent on that.
Well, it does have the 3-lug. You can always get an adapter. Or,
Correct.
I think, let me look at the, yeah, there should be, yeah, there's plenty of meat there.
Yeah, you could definitely get it
just
cut
like I
down.
threaded barrels on a lot of my AKs, you could thread that.
Yes. Yeah, it reminds me so much of my little PDX 300 Blackout.
It does, and I completely agree.
Yeah, it's kind of got this little extra space here for a raised pick rail. I love the real estate. And, of course, having this Magpul grip, it's so easy to access anything on there. I don't have anything negative to say about this. I actually do plan on picking one of these up from you for that exact reason. Set it up for a little home defense booger, and most importantly is you should have 100 Glock mags by this point. So
I will say, the first batch, I think they shipped them with 2 mags. They are shipping them with 3 now. It's not a big deal. It's nice, though.
that's actually really nice, because
So at least you have a kit.
For sure, because I've paid more for a gun that doesn't come with but just one. So really getting the 3 mags in there, plus any standard 17, 19
And a nice
Glock
hard
mag.
case.
Yeah, nice hard case.
You can actually put your gun. One thing that bugs me about a lot of really good hard cases, including the 6 hour ones, they're great for what they are, but if you stick one in with an Opticon, you're kind of screwed. And people look at the case, these come in and go, wow, that's so big. Yeah, but there's room for any optic you want on there.
Well, a lot of people don't realize, too, with me newly getting into night vision, when you start throwing on nod stuff and lasers and Steiner D-balls, especially the D2, man, you're taking up a lot of space in a case, and you don't want to bang that shit up.
How would you say on the accuracy? I mean,
It's
not that we were
actually
doing a whole lot.
very good. We pulled that little red dot right off of a full-size AR, threw it on here, and didn't really zero it in. And it was very accurate. And again, I think a lot of that comes with such minimal recoil. You're not bouncing around too much either.
No,
so.
it's a straight back because it's an amp. But because that one thing we all pointed out, it's a little stiff to charge, especially as a pistol. But the benefit to having such a strong spring, the recoil is so minimum, and it doesn't feel like a gun that's going to beat itself to death.
Not at all.
It feels like it's not overdoing it.
Right, and having that AR platform, you've got that bolt hold release in last round.
Yeah,
so
I'm really happy that they got a working bolt hold with a Glock mag. That's
so it's not like
good.
you're charging at every mag. You're going to be bouncing around. But I do really, really like the extended paddle, and being full ambi. I'm AR15 shooter. I always ride my trigger finger up when I'm going on and off. So I like that it comes stock with ambi controls.
And I think you like the 45 versus the 90 throw because it's not down and digging on you. Because
Exactly.
I know on like the Bren 2, you don't like how it.
Nope, I've got
too big.
an AR I just set up like that with a down, and it just rides your the top of your hand a little too much. But
And Chris Bartacci should be happy. No forward assist.
no forward assist. Yeah, it shouldn't need a forward assist.
Yeah, especially on just a straight blowback gun.
Yeah. But yeah, I really don't have any complaints. I have a lot of good things to say.
One thing I will say, I might be slightly different. YouTube, so yeah.
Yeah.
But Jay and I noticed that with the first gun, mags were a little stiff to insert and take out. Not egregious, but
This one was pretty nice.
I don't think any of us had trouble with a Glock mags or the 3 factory mags.
Right. No,
So maybe they slightly tweaked the mag well, just a little bit.
just enough to where it pops them in a little easier.
I said earlier there's no changes. Maybe there was that one internal change. I don't know. I'll ask the manufacturer. But yeah, we didn't notice mags being an issue. The hold open worked every time. It is well balanced. I love the finish on it.
The finish is excellent, and I like what they've done with this curved. It's like most of the time you lose me on these, but I like that it comes stock with so much real estate. It comes with 3 little pick rails out there, and you still have plenty of room to put.
And
your
there's
hand.
room if your suppressor for a 3 kind of comes back. There should be room for it. Yeah.
I think it's just set up really good. I think
Yeah,
this gun
it's
will
well
look
thought out.
so awesome SBR'd, and honestly, all I can think about is setting this up for a CQB with night vision. I think with a big Steiner laser on there and some IR and stuff, man, I think this gun would just
even
be
after
perfect.
shooting it.
Yeah, there's no wobble. There's no
wobble,
play.
because some guns they start off real
Yeah.
tight and then there's wiggle wobbles.
And I do like the flared magwell, you know.
Yeah, beveled magwell.
Yeah, I feel like it's just very light. I mean, this is like you're holding, I think Mechanic weighs more than this whole gun. It doesn't feel...
And it's all metal. Like, there's not polymer. It's not a polymer lower, upper,
No.
none of that.
It's a...
You know what's really fun? When those came out, spending over 2 for an AR type 9mm was...
that takes Glock mags.
It was kind of... But nowadays, there are. Like you mentioned, yours, the PDX. But, this has become a bit of a niche, a bougie market, but they're of, 2,000-ish special guns.
And I feel that at that price point and the quality you get, I really feel like this is going to target the law enforcement, first responder, special kind of operation stuff. And it doesn't need to be a janky gun. And I feel like at that price point, you're really getting a lot. And you feel that whenever you shoot it and hold it.
Well, you can tell it was actually built by a gunsmith.
Correct.
By hand. It does have that custom build. This is not an assembly line gun, guys.
No, not at all. And we'll talk about the trigger. I really do like that trigger a whole lot.
Yeah, it's not like, oh my God, that's the lightest thing ever. It's heavy enough that if you drop it, it's not going to go off. But
Speaking of
really
dropping it.
Yeah, I mud tested it. Yep. I went to put it back in the case, guys, and I usually just unzip the end of my case and drop my guns in, and it went straight through the case and into the mud, which is good because at least it didn't have a hard impact. But the mud went into the barrel. Oh yeah. So we got to mud test it a little bit.
We did mud test it.
It's good.
So now this will be the one I buy because it's officially been mud tested.
That's why we shot around through it. Just blow that mud out.
That's exactly right. No, I like the real estate. I like the hand placement.
Like I said, I wasn't going to bring her out, but I thought, heck,
I'm glad
just
you did.
came in and I kind of seemed like your kind of gun. And
yeah,
I think the only videos on YouTube of it are the ones Jay and I did a few years ago. And, nothing super new, but it's fun. And, yeah, it's kind of cool. Wyssen Defense, a tiny little Swiss company that's an offshoot of an Avalanche gear and cable car company, but hey, diversity is the spice of life.
It really is, and I think going back to it at that price point at $2,000, the quality you're getting, but also you're going to probably have the only one of these at the range if you do get one.
Oh, I would imagine so.
It would be an awesome conversation piece and kind of something to show off. It does have that bougie vibe.
I have one question that I can't answer. A lot of people say that Glock mags don't look good in certain guns, like for example AKs and even ARs. How does the Glock mag in that look to you?
I honestly think it's kind of ugly. I feel like
that's a very common.
I feel like it's so straight and goofy, but also I'm going to go back to what this gun is intended and should be used for. It's just a tool. I do think the Glock mag thing's ugly, but man, you get the reward of having hundreds of them laying around.
I just figured we mentioned it because I figured it'd be in the comments, and it's one of those things. Yeah, I mean, if you're going to have it take a standard mag.
Now I think the drum would look better. It would kind of give it the MP5 look.
Drum, I guess it would because the magwell's not any deeper than a grip. So yeah,
I think that would kind of give it the more MP5 look, the little more.
And there's so many types of Glock. Maybe a clear Glock mag would look interesting in it.
Yeah, I had some. I got some red ones and clear ones and all kinds of stuff.
Next time, try some other mags. We
We
did try it with all 3 factory mags, and you brought out 3 or 4 regular Glock mags. So no mag compatibility.
No issues. Reliability was good.
Ammo, we weren't even being concerned. We had some 115, some 147. It didn't matter. It didn't care about
Winchester, Remington, all of that stuff. It ran everything in great fashion.
Yep. Yeah, the only issue, like I mentioned earlier, was the placement of that optic. And I really do think somehow that overhanging the ejection port, somehow the casing was coming out or going in, somehow that was disrupting the ejection. But as soon as we moved it either forward or back of the port, no problems.
Yeah.
Which is good, because I was going to be very sad if that gun was weird. But that's when we shot it first without any optic, so I knew it ran.
Yeah,
And again, that optic has done to other guns, like, for example, the M4, because it overhangs because of the QD.
Just enough to where it can cause some ejection.
Mess up ejection.
Yeah.
And just, if you get one and you have issues, move your optic.
Yeah.
See what it does.
Move it around.
Well, we'll go back to the house and do some final thoughts, and they can see you guys next time.
Absolutely.
Alrighty, guys. And we end here, just me and you. I think we pretty much said it all. It is a nice gun. It's a very boutique gun. so few in the USA, and not that many more in Switzerland. So it's not iconic and probably never will be. And it is an AR-15, an AR-9 if you want to call it that. Nothing revolutionary here. But it's an AR-9 made by a guy who really liked guns and thought he could make a better mousetrap that took Glock mags. And money notwithstanding, it's hard to criticize this. In some ways, this is a keep it simple, stupid gun. It doesn't have a lot of unnecessary bells and whistles, if you think about it. Not a lot of sticky yaddy bits. It's quite light, intuitive. Yet it has what you need. It's not a basic gun either. Like I said, you get a pretty good ALG trigger. You get a buffer system specifically meant for 9mm. I actually really do like this ambi double-sided charging handle. Mag pull grip is fine. May not be the one I would keep, but it takes standard grip, so no problem. Glock mags, as we discussed, maybe they don't look the part, but they're so ubiquitous, especially for the larger capacities. It's hard to think of any other pistol mag you would really want it to take. So that might be a function over form thing. The free throat handguard is very nice. It's not too big and bulky. It's got kind of an interesting angle to it. It does come with metal rail sections, not plastic, and you can always remove them if you don't want them. Now, as Fox pointed out, it's not threaded, but it is 3-lug. You could thread it. That might be something. It would be nice if they would do the 1/2x28 with a muzzle cap, but that's a minor nitpick, for being honest with each other. Like Fox said, the safety doesn't dig into his fingers. A lot of people are very safety sensitive. I don't tend to be that type, but a lot of folks are. And this doesn't seem to aggravate that. No port cover, dust cover. It's kind of really not a reason for it in this type of gun, since this isn't a military gun that's going to be out in the field. At the most, it might be a police gun. But the truth is, this is just how well can we make a 9mm AR? And I would say quite well. It seems like they might have tweaked just a handful of things, including the magazine well. But quality is still there, even after a day of shooting, tight as a drum. It can be a little too tight with this charging handle, but that's really not its fault. If it had a stock or brace on it, it's not that hard to do. It's just because we're kind of having to do it awkwardly. And I should say that, even though this is being shot as a pistol, because of what it is and how well it's done, it's not egregious. I could keep shooting this as a pistol. Whereas a 308 or even a 223 or even some other 9mm, like say the Scorpion Evo 3, which I do love that gun, no, you really need something in the back. But this, it's comfortable enough. And yeah, you really can single-hand it if you want. It's only 6 pounds, especially if you don't go putting a big chunky optic on it. With so few in the country, I just thought doing a revisit video would be worthwhile, because this isn't something most people are ever going to see or have a chance to buy. Price-wise, they're not cheap, but there's a market for that. $2,000 to $3,000 boutique AR-based guns. A lot of them are in 300 blackout, some are in some kind of obscure cartridges, and some are in 9mm. So it's a niche market, but heck, with only 10 coming in a year, it doesn't need or even could support more than a niche market. It's just one of those weird curiosities that may never gain collectability, or maybe it will one day. You never know. But it's a lot of fun to shoot. I can't really say I've got a reason to keep one for myself, but it is a really fun gun to shoot, and everyone that I hand one really loves it. One of the guys who helps me out here at the shop actually ended up keeping one. He liked one. We took pictures of it last time, and I said next time a batch comes in, he can have one through the store, and he did. And it is one of those guns you just hand people. Maybe on camera it doesn't look special, when you just feel it, how nice this finish is, how tight but smooth everything is. Yeah, it has something that's hard to quantify over a camera. But Hope you enjoyed this. We'd love to talk about your own kind of Gucci or custom built, because this is a custom built gun. These are not built on assembly lines. Some parts are off the shelf, like the Magpul stuff, but some are kind of made for Wyssen defense per their design specs. So, yeah. Love to hear what you think in the comments. Hope everyone is doing well this spring. This is Misha, also on behalf of Fox. We'll both catch you very soon next time.